If you have been watching the Frederick housing market and wondering if the power have shifted back to the buyers, well, I want to give you an answer today, and it's not the headline version. Because the answer is not a simple yes or no. And knowing the difference could save you a lot of money and a lot of stress on your next offer. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Larizza Viado and I am a Maryland Realtor. And I actually relocated here myself from the West Coast, so I know firsthand what it feels like to move across the country and try to figure out which town is actually right for you. That's exactly what this channel is for, the real, unfiltered, local insider truth about living in and moving to this state. Today, I want to break down what is actually happening in the Frederick market right now because I am getting this same question from all the buyers that I talk to. Before we get into Frederick specifically, let's define the term because a lot of people are throwing around the term buyer's market without really knowing what it means. A true buyer's market usually means around 5 to 6 months of housing supply available. That is the point where supply and demand are balanced enough that buyers starts to gain real negotiating power, price reductions, seller concessions, and more time to think before you offer. Frederick right now is about 2.3 months supply. That is up slightly from last year, but it's still well below the 5 to 6 month balance point. So no, we're not in a true buyer's market, but that doesn't mean nothing has changed. Inventory has genuinely loosened compared to the extreme lows Frederick saw the past few years. Buyers now have more homes to actually choose from, and homes are not disappearing overnight the way that they were during the peak of the frenzy. Days on the market have stretched out too. It is not the instant multiple offer chaos it was a couple years ago. Homes priced right and in good condition are still moving fast. Close to half of them are selling within about 10 days, but that means that the other half are sitting long enough for buyers to actually think, negotiate, and ask for things like repairs and closing cost help. Median home prices in Frederick have actually dipped slightly year after year, sitting at around $450,000. That is a small shift, but it tells you sellers are having to be more realistic with their pricing than they were during the run-up years. Here's an honest way to describe it. This is not the buyer's market. This is a market that is normalizing after an extremely tilt towards the seller. Buyers have more breathing room than they did, but they still need to move in with confidence when the right home comes along. Quick reminder, my name is Larizza Viado and I am a Maryland Realtor. And figuring out a specific listing has room for negotiation or going to draw competition, that is exactly the kind of read I help buyers get before they write an offer. If you want that kind of guidance for your own search, the link for a one-on-one call is in the description. So, what do you actually do with this information if you're buying in Frederick right now? First, do not assume that every listing is a bidding war. The mindset made sense 2 years ago, but today it can actually cost you to overpay on a home that had room to negotiate. Look at the days on the market for specific listing before deciding how aggressive to be. Second, mortgage rates are a real part of this conversation. Right now, 30-year fixed rates are sitting with a high 6% range, closer to 6.7 to 6.9%, depending on the lender and your credit profile. That is a big part of why the market has cooled from its peak. Higher rates means fewer buyers can stretch as far, which naturally slows competition. Third, use the slightly longer days on the market to your advantage. Take the second showing. Get the inspection you actually want. Ask for what you need. A lot of buyers spent the last few years afraid to ask anything because they thought they were going to lose the house. That fear is less justified today than it was. And fourth, this could shift again. Rates could drop, inventory could tighten back up, and Frederick could snap towards sellers quickly, given how strong long-term demand for this area remains. This window of extra breathing room is not guaranteed to last. Here is my honest bottom line as a person who works in this market every day. Frederick is not crashing, and it is not a buyer's paradise either. It is finding its footing after a few wild years, and that actually creates a healthier environment for both sides. Sellers still have to price realistically, buyers finally have a little room to breathe and make a smart decision instead of a panic one. If you're relocating here from out of state, this is genuinely one of the more reasonable windows to buy in Frederick that we have seen in a while. Not because the prices are falling off the cliff, but because you actually have time to make a good decision instead of being forced into a rushed one. Hey, real quick, if you're watching and considering a move to Maryland, whether that's in 2 months or in 2 years, it's never too soon to get a plan together. I love helping people do exactly that, showing you homes, walking you through the buying process, mapping out your whole relocation so nothing gets missed. So I put together a free Maryland relocation roadmap that walks you through everything step by step. The link is in the description. It's free, it's detailed, and it's going to save you a lot of time in your research. And if you're ready to have a real conversation about your move, you can use the link below to schedule a one-on-one call with me. I'll help you build a strategy that fits your timeline, no pressure at all. So that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.